Okay, great.
Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. We are ready to get this show on the road. Just a couple of things to do. I got to get this live on Facebook super quickly while everyone's popping in. While you're coming on in, please tell us hello and where you are coming from. Let's see here. Is this going to let me put this on? Yes, here we go. Jackie, can you still hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Always wonder internet things. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Yay, we got plenty of people popping in here. We have New York and Oregon, LA, two from LA, California, San Diego, Connecticut, Portugal, Canada, Minnesota. All right. Lots of people coming in from lots of fun places. Yay. So we had a short little break in our webinar series, of course, as we held the conference, and that was so much fun. So much fun. If you were with us, please give a shout out and say hey from the conference. If you've joined us from our email list, we are happy to have you here as well. Today, we are talking about making more money as an author, which is always a good, happy topic. We all want to make sure that we can pay our bills and have fun and do the things that we want to do in our lives. So we've got Jackie Haley, which if you were at the conference or if you've been on our list for a few years, you probably know her. She's from the company Dream to Author. She works primarily with nonfiction authors. So we're going to be digging down into how to grow your bottom line with a nonfiction book. Now, I will say with all of our webinars, if you're a fiction author or you don't qualify as a nonfiction author, you can still learn valuable insights from this. Most things can be transported and applied with a little bit of a different framework. And, fiction authors can do very similar things as nonfiction authors when it comes to growing your business and doing different things. And we know that many of our fiction authors are also doing side jobs as editors or book cover designers or layout designers, all those types of things. So you can definitely find ways to apply to this. But I will say when we get to the Q&A at the end, what always happens is we get the question, how do I apply this to fiction books and things like that? And I would say, try to refrain from those, that's not the way I want to say that. We may be able to answer that question. We may not be able to in the time frame, but as we're going through the webinar, just anything Jackie's saying, think about how could I apply this in a different situation, and that may help you out. So, all right, I am going to go ahead and kick this over to Jackie, but really quickly, don't forget, we will have a Q&A session at the end. There's a Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Just pop any questions that you have in there. And we will put on the closed captioning for anyone who needs that. Those should be good to go. And I think that's all that I needed to share with everyone. So thank you, Jackie. First of all, thank you so much for being a sponsor for the second year in a row. Our sponsors really help us keep the wheels on the wagon throughout the entire process and in delivering this event, not only during the week of the summit, but all of these wonderful free webinars outside of the summit as well. And I just saw Leah's comment. How about making
that too.
any money as an author?
I was going to comment on that.
We'll start with making any money as an author at some point. So, okay. Yeah. Thank you, Jackie, so much for being here. And I'm going to kick it over to you now.
Thank you so much. This is fantastic. I always appreciate any chance I get to talk to Alexa, talk to women in publishing. You are my people. It's my favorite time of year when I get to talk to others about how to write your story, how to finally move forward, get that story idea from your mind to paper or in your computer so you can get it out to the audience, that target audience. Because the people out there are looking for that next best story. They're looking for that next best takeaway in education. They want hope. They want inspiration. They want to find out what they can do to make their life better or something better about themselves. So I love that you have that. Thank you, Alexa, for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on here and visit with everybody, especially you. So we are going to kick things off. I have so much to offer, but Leah, I love your question. You get right to the point. She must be a business person. I tell you, we're all about making money here. This is how it goes. But we are going to get to that. When we talk, and actually, Alexa, I thought you had a fantastic aha moment it was a while back, and it was a video about the royalties and how shipping and this distribution can take away from those royalties. You don't make a lot on royalties generally, but when you can take that book and use it for business, use it as a business card, use it as another tool to increase that visibility. That's what we're going to cover today. This is where you make any money as an author. You make money as an author selling books. You can make that royalty, those royalties. You can get great deals. The best strategy, and I'm just going to say it, when you're selling a book on your own, you are able to get that margin probably at a really great rate, better than maybe through a Barnes and Noble and things like that. And Alexa, feel free to tune in on that part of it. You probably know more, right?
Oh, there's so many things that we could talk about on that
Yes.
venue, but one of the
Yes.
things I often tell people is that in the beginning, no matter what genre you're writing, in the beginning, it's really hard to see the type of money you want to see just from book sales alone. So that's why it's so important to consider other streams of revenue and other ways that you can utilize that book to actually bring in money from other sources.
Absolutely. So with that said, let's jump right in to exactly what Alexa is talking about. Let's talk about other ways we can make money on this. And I'm going to share screen. Maybe let me know if you guys can see that okay.
Yep, you're good to go.
Okay, perfect. Awesome.
It's not in full screen though. There we go. Perfect.
All right, ready to go. Awesome.
Yep.
So I'm going to keep the chat up in case there are new questions. The only thing I sometimes struggle with is catching questions. Alexa, if you possibly help me with that, if I'm missing questions in the chat box, that would be a huge help too. But going forward in writing, we're going to talk about how to write a book, how to write a nonfiction book to add to your bottom line. And this is what we're going to cover. You're going to learn how to write a successful book that will add to your bottom line. We're going to talk about the most important strategy to use your book to grow that business. And also we're going to talk about the book industry and where you can position yourself in the market, right? So you can have the best success. A little bit about me. I'm going to minimize that chat box for a minute. So if there's anything that people are asking, please let me know. Just a little bit about me. So why should you listen to me? Why should you, where's my background on this? I want to make sure you guys are understanding that. I am an award-winning author. I have national endorsements for my book. I've been on CBS, NBC. You can see some of those authority logos that those are just a few that I've been on. I'm actually going back on NBC on Thursday to talk more about how to start your book. But this is particularly about my fiction book. The photograph is on Hello, Iowa, about a true Iowa story. So that's where this has been. But I've traveled the country representing my book and meeting people and helping people grow with their own story. That's been the biggest accomplishment for me. So I wrote Crystal Beach, my first book, and I had 2 years of revisions before I got that into a place where I felt it could be published. I was endorsed by the largest newspaper in the state of Iowa for that first book. And among other endorsements and reviews, I was also published that in 2012, published the sequel. I started building a platform and I published the sequel in 2017. They wanted to know what happened to these characters or what else are you writing? And it was all about, I like the way you write your stories. I want to hear more. This is where fiction writers can come into play and build that success, even if it complements the business, even if they're writing fiction. These are fiction books, but they are still there to help build credibility for me as a writer, as an author, as a book coach, as a writing coach. So take that in mind. If you're writing fiction, you can definitely use fiction stories to help build your credibility as an author. Brenda's Wish is a narrative nonfiction that was released. I was approached by a family actually to write that story. It is about a woman that passed from ovarian cancer, but she left a wish for her family that they received 2 years after she had passed away. So that interview on the radio station, she wrote a letter, gave it to a friend. She said, when my husband finds a new wife to take care of our 4 boys, send this letter to the radio station. So that's where that 2-year mark came in. He goes into a radio station interview, and here's the words of his late wife. This interview went viral. There were 440 media contacts that reached out to that family. Good Morning America, The Today Show, Ellen DeGeneres, all of the big networks, writers. It went global. I just talked to somebody a few months ago from Tokyo that did a follow-up on this story, but it was huge. It was a true story. It was one single act. And that's where I've gotten a lot more exposure. So as I'm writing more books, I'm getting more bigger platforms, and I'm getting more exposure, and hence more of the accolades are starting to get come into play. And that's where you can see how that can evolve, right? So from there, I created Dream to Author because ever since 2012 really, I was getting other writers coming up to me saying, how did you start your story? How did you go through the publishing process? How do you make sure that you have a successful book? So it wasn't until 2019 that I developed Dream to Author. I truly found my passion, not only writing books, but helping others write their own books. So that's where my story comes into play. And that's where I've been doing a lot of this work, and I'm just having a blast. It should be illegal how much fun I'm having. But let's talk a little bit about why books for business, okay? Because when you're getting that success, you want to know why, because that's going to help you get there. First and foremost, it's going to position a nonfiction book to grow your bottom line. You're positioning yourself as an authority figure in your field of expertise, right? You're increasing that visibility for your business. This is an extra marketing tool. This is something you can use. Books are often used as an additional business card. So, we always talk about that elevator pitch, right? When you talk about that elevator pitch, rather than saying, this is what I do and this is what I can provide as a business, you can say, hey, this is what I do. Here's a book. And it gives them one tool that they can look at later that shows, oh, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about. This person I need to listen more to. I need to set an appointment with. I need to do a consult with. Those are fantastic business cards. You can have an increase in your speaker fees, and we're going to get into that as well, and additional opportunities to reach that target audience. Now you're not only in the business space, but you're in the Barnes and Noble, you're in the other retailers, you're in different areas where books are found that give you more access to that target audience, okay? So these are the things I want you to think about and why books are important. All right, everything's going well for chats. Anybody has any questions, let me know. So let's talk a little bit about what you must know to write that successful book that will add to your bottom line. This is truly, you want to make sure that you are creating a tool because you're putting that name, your name, and your credibility on this tool. You need to make sure it's a successful message and a successful book. First and foremost, this is what I tell my nonfiction writers. You want to identify your target market. So think about this, and please, if you have a chance, take notes on this, because I want you to think about your own target market. What is your business about? What is your business model? Who are you reaching out to? Who are the best, those hopeful clients that you want in your corner and you want in your sales pipeline? Who is that audience? What is their demographic? Where are they living? What are they doing? What do they need help with? All right. And what are their expectations? What would they expect to get out of a book like yours? And what do they look for in a good book? Think about that reader and what they look for so you can help figure out what you need to provide to them. So write down your target audience right now. And this should be fairly easy. If you've got a business structure already in place, you know what your target audience is. Writing down that target audience, now determine the message of your book. This is where you want to make sure that your message and your genre, what is it about? Finding what that topic is, how you're delivering it. What's the delivery? Are you giving that message through personal experience? Are you giving it through statistics and research and Are you giving it through interviews? What's the delivery method? And what are the takeaways of your message? Okay, the takeaways really are honing in at the summary and bullet points of your main message of your book. Okay, take a moment to think about what that looks like and write down any notes that you can have right now to include in your main message. Okay, will we get the slide deck? Lori, I can get the slide deck and Alexa, I think I sent that to you, so we could get that taken care of. What about the writing a short book, 3,000 words as a lead magazine? 3,000 words essentially would be more like a blog or an article or something like that, Dana. When we're talking about nonfiction books, you're really looking in that realm of, 40 to traditionally published, they require, I think, 50 to 75,000 words nonfiction as a guidance rule on word count. But I know some people are publishing books as low as 20,000 words, and they're maybe doing self-publishing. There are publishers out there, if they're writing, if they are working with a writer or an author, they require 40,000 for a non-fiction. I've got one client going through a publisher right now, and they said, no, we need to have at least 40,000 words for a nonfiction book. So there are some requirements on certain publishers. It's a matter of finding what your message is, and then maybe that'll help determine your publishing path as well. But Alexa might have some great guidance on the publishing side of that as well moving forward. But this is 3,000 words is more article kind of short story kind of, and that could definitely be something that could be used to get to your subscribers. Absolutely. All right. So determining your, see if I got any other questions here. Sorry. Good there. Okay. Determining your message. Continuing on, let's talk about the structure of this book. Okay. The main components that I want you to have in this book. The main message, obviously you want that honed in, you want it concise, you want it to the point, and you want that person, that reader, to really truly see the importance of that. You want steps to remedy the problem or support the theme that you are providing in that message, okay? Providing evidence to support that's where that personal experience, that statistics, those reports, those interviews with other doctors or other experts in the field that provide that credibility and provide credibility to your main message. It supports your convictions that you have in that book. That is where you're going to get into more detail, right? And then the final step that you have is really taking them from the depth of those details, the research and all those statistics and those personal experience examples that really support your message, bring them back up to the top and get those compelling takeaways summarized in your final step of your nonfiction, okay? Make sure that you've got that laid out well. Yeah. All right, so keep these components in mind when you are moving through and writing your book, getting past your main message, how you're gonna do it. This is what we're gonna do, okay? So we're gonna keep moving forward. Tips for a successful book. I want you to keep these in place. Keep these in mind. I'm having trouble with them. Looks like there's a question for you, Alexa, from Betsy on the questions, the Q&A. Okay, so tips for a successful book. First and foremost, do your research. Make sure that whatever you're putting in there, you are providing that information that is credible. You have the reader buy-in. You want to make sure that you're confirming all of your points and everything's accurate. Also, look up other books and what are they doing in that genre? What are other books doing there? And how are they selling? Where are they going to? Reveal your main message in that first 5 pages. I want you to make sure you reveal that message very quickly. And the reason is, if you just put yourself in the reader's shoes and walk into a bookstore and read a book. You open a book that looks interesting to you in the beginning. Would you read 5 pages, and when you still don't know what that book is about, would you keep reading? That's a question I would ask you. I know I wouldn't. I would put it back up on the shelf. So you want to make sure you hit home that hook right away, and you have that information that they're going to have in the very beginning. Have your most compelling points come first. Make sure that you've got these aha moments, these compelling experiences, these beautiful points, this thing that really hones in on your main message. Make sure you are getting that right in the beginning, okay? And start and end your chapter somewhere interesting. This comes from market research for years and years and years and years. We all have this. We get to a point where we're reading a book and we're going to go, okay, I'm going to read to a certain stopping point. Like we're in bed late at night. I'm going to read just to the end of chapter 12. Our job as the author is to make sure that that reader turns to the next page. They need to know what happens next. They've got to find out what that point is or how it's supported or anything like that. So start and end each chapter somewhere very interesting. Absolutely, Sandy. Add other sources or statistics to support your message. Now, you can write a memoir, you can write something that helps somebody, that provides, and it could link into you as an expert in that field, but you do also want to have the more outsourced statistics that could possibly help your point of view and your conviction and your main message. That's going to add credibility to not only your book and your message, but it's also going to add credibility to you as an author. Hey, she knows because she's done this research. She's gone through this, this, and this. I need to listen to her. I need to listen to what she's got to offer. So these are important things that help you get that book into a successful strategy and to a successful tool, successful book. Okay. All right. When you get your message constructed and you've got these components listed out, I want you to ask yourself this question: is this message worthy of a book? Is it worthy of writing all of this? Is it going to give you enough information and stuff and enough content? And is the message important enough to write an entire book about it? Okay. If there is one thing I want you to take away from today, it's this. This is not about you. Sure, it's your business, it's your potential client, it's your story, but it is not about you. Writing this book to increase your bottom line, you need to focus on them. It's about the reader. It's about what you can provide for them. It's about what you can give to them, because that's what's going to get them to believe in you, to relate to you, to understand you, and realize you are the person that they need to talk to for the next service or the next benefit or what else you have to provide, the next book, right? Yes, exactly, Alexa. Alexa agrees. It is about the reader, and it's all about it. So keep that in mind as you're writing this story. Make sure that you're in the reader's shoe and you are understanding what they're looking for, okay? So let's talk about validating that message a bit, because I want you to make sure that your book is credible and that message is worthy of a book, okay? So if you have questions about that, you're out there, you've got a business, you know you need to validate your message. You need your main message written out. You need to, maybe if you have questions about it, if you have doubt and you don't know if it's strong enough, if it's a strong enough message for an entire book or a strong enough message that will really attract people to your business, to you as an author, as well as an expert, this is what you can ask. You can get a group together and ask people that you trust. Don't ask those friends that'll just support you no matter what. Ask people that will call you out if they think that something's wrong. And ask them, is this message worthy of a book? Would you find this book helpful? And what are you missing? What are you missing from that message? What else would they like to know? And make sure that you're covering all of those points, okay? And based on your feedback that you get from these people, make sure that you polish that message, get it fine-tuned to where you are really tagging into that target audience and you're getting them the right message that they need that's going to hook them in. Thank you so much, Sandy. I appreciate it. And then this will validate your message. This is going to ensure you're not wasting your time and you are moving forward, writing a book that's successful, that's going to be in the market and that people are going to drive to. They're gonna read the book, they're gonna close the cover, and they're gonna go, wow, I need to talk to my friends about that. I need to show this to my other friend because they're going through that same thing and they need this help too. Maybe they should check into a consult with this group or with this expert, with this author, right? This is what you want to see as you go through and write your book. Now let's talk about connecting your message with that reader, because again, we are all about the reader, okay? So first and foremost, write what they will understand. And let me tell you, I had a prospect writer who was a college professor, and he was writing a story. He was a computer engineer, university professor. He was writing a book about computer engineering. He wanted to get people interested in technology and computer engineering and moving forward. I said, that's fantastic, great idea. That is a huge growing industry. Obviously, it's massive. So he sent me some of this stuff. I said, who is your target audience? And he said, well, I'd like to get people in middle school, maybe even upper elementary school to get interested in computers right away. So when I read his work, the voice he had, the message he had was like he was talking to someone at a table that was another university college professor. And so the message was not understandable to the target audience that he had. You want to match those. You want to write in the way that the reader is going to understand, okay? Don't put terms in there that they are not going to understand unless you're going to have great explanation and teach them something. Deliver the importance of your message, okay? So I'm writing about, my third book was Brenda's Wish. It was about ovarian cancer. The person that asked me, the husband that asked me to write it, said I want three things. I want it to be faith-based, I wanted to raise awareness for ovarian cancer, and I want it to be inspirational. So what I included interviews with doctors, statistics about ovarian cancer, and as that narrative nonfiction took place, that book, that story, I took it through in a storytelling way, which is what a narrative nonfiction is. So I'm writing it from Brenda's perspective and how she experienced that and the research she did. So I'm teaching through the eyes of the cancer patient. And so I'm able to deliver that importance of that message and raise that awareness in that way. Find a way to deliver the importance of your message, whether it's statistics, whether it's the research, whether it's the personal experience, whatever you have, make sure that you hit home on that. Why do they need to know that? And make sure your message is relatable. So you've got that target audience, you match that with your target audience. Make sure that you are having this message connect with them. Keep the emotional connection with it. Am I a collaborative writer? Yes, if you have questions, we can, feel free to email me, Mary Jean. I will have my email at the end. So yeah, but the answer is yeah. Keeping that emotional connection with the reader. A lot of times, especially in nonfiction, you really want to hit home the pain points that people are struggling with on a nonfiction book, because you want to make sure that they understand you are addressing their issues. You're going to bring a solution to their problems. You're going to bring a solution to what they're going through and provide that to them. And that's bringing in that relatable emotional connection to the reader. That's just one way. Now, there are so many different topics that a nonfiction book can cover. So when you're thinking about keeping that emotional connection with the reader, think about your business model and what are you providing for your clients, and make sure that you're connecting with them on a relatable way and in an emotional way, okay? And last but not least, make sure that your takeaways are compelling, because this is your sales pitch. And this is one thing that some people kind of miss in the beginning. They get their main message like, great, I'm going to give this, I'm going to provide all this, and I'm going to give you the evidence you need. I'm going to provide all this, but then they miss the takeaways. And when you nail the takeaways, when you have fantastic takeaways and you summarize that at the end, that prospect client is going to close the book and they're going to go, wow, that was amazing. They don't get stuck in the details of the evidence, but they are actually going, the takeaways are the last thing they had in their mind because it was at the end of the book. And they close their book and they go talk to another organization, another event venue, or another colleague and say, I got this, this, and this out of that book. It is a great read. I think you need to look at that, because you just set up the pitch for that prospect client to spread the word to another prospect client. So make sure that those takeaways are compelling and they're easy to remember for that reader, and you're able to go to increase that visibility, increase that endorsement. You're even getting that client, if that client is prospect client is recommending, you're still getting a book recommendation, even if they aren't a client right off the bat. So these are the things I want you to remember. Now, I also want you to think about connecting with the reader. We just talked about connecting the message with the reader. Now we want them to connect you with the reader, right? I want you to establish your voice. I want you to find your own way of telling your story, okay? Make sure it's distinct. Avoid those cliches, okay? That is one of the, I just had an interview with a publisher yesterday. We were talking about ways that you can stand out in front of publishers and literary agents. She said, I was so excited when you said avoid cliches, because that is truly what, they don't want to hear what everybody else has said. They want to hear a different, distinct voice, something that has something to offer that they aren't getting anywhere else. Give the reader something unexpected. These are all things that I want you to keep in mind as you're moving forward, okay? And writing your story. All right. So with that said, I'm going to pause for a hot second. Does anyone have any questions on writing your book, writing a successful nonfiction book? We just covered that. We're going to get into using your book to grow your business and position yourself. If not, I'm going to continue to move forward, but this is a huge segment that I want to make sure that you guys understand. If you need the extra help, I'm going to have something to offer you at the end of this webinar that will hone in on getting you the help you need to identify the message, make sure that you have a compelling nonfiction story that you can add ability tool for you. Okay.
Jackie, just want to inject in here. Please make sure you're using the Q&A box so we don't lose questions that are in the chat. You do
okay.
Not you. I'm sorry. I'm talking to the attendees.
Oh, okay.
But there are. Karen just dropped a question in chat. That's a good one, and she actually dropped two in there, and then there are a couple in the Q&A box for you before you move on.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alexa. I appreciate the help there. Use of humor in business books, Betsy. You absolutely can. It depends on what your target audience. Again, you go back to that target audience. Are they looking? Do they like that that voice that's going to offer real, genuine, humor? Is your target audience, maybe if they're executives, or if they're a different audience that are more professional, that really just need the information and need to move forward? I mean, you can feel that out, but you definitely want to make sure that you are honing in on what those expectations of the target audience are, whether you use humor and at what stage is that appropriate. If you're talking about personal experience, it might be funny to have a humor moment in it, but if you're really educating someone and getting someone into a certain inspiration moment, then maybe just stick to the serious topics there. It really depends on that target audience. Denise Cross, could you give me an example of a compelling takeaway? Okay, absolutely. So in Brenda's Wish, I interviewed, I just go to Brenda's Wish, my latest book. It's talking about 1 in 7 women will be diagnosed with ovarian cancer in this year. That's a huge statistic. It's kind of a holy crap, this is important. I need to make sure that I am paying attention. Another compelling takeaway is that women do not get ovarian cancer detection through their annual pap smear exam. You do not, it's through an ultrasound or other blood tests or something like that. So those are some compelling takeaways about self-care and how to move forward in a healthy way to make sure that you're catching ovarian cancer in early stages. Another compelling takeaway, checking to make sure you have, just best practices to do prevention. Those are compelling takeaways. So hopefully I'm giving you a few ideas there from your own experience. You can definitely, takeaways can come from your own experience. Absolutely. I'm not an ovarian cancer survivor. The lady I wrote the book about was the ovarian cancer patient. So perfect. We've got those questions taken care of. And then Karen, what is the best topic if you're a healer? That goes back to your target audience and what are you going to provide for them? I actually have a healer client right now, and she's writing on a specific topic about healing and other things, but that message is more honed in on specific ways that you can best take care of yourself and maybe become your own healer. Think about what you can provide as a healer. What is your first thing? What is the biggest thing that clients need from you? What can they get from you? What are the benefits of them working with you as a healer? Karen, I would start there, construct that message about what you can provide for them and construct that message around that benefit for the reader and for the client, that prospect client. Does that make sense? Hopefully I got that answered. Okay, and let me know, Karen. Okay, great. Thank you. And if you're writing because you feel creative, doesn't mean you probably won't make money on the book. Well, I wrote my first book I wrote, didn't intend on having it as a book, but it was for fun. It was 100% for fun for me. It was therapeutic for me because I was raising two very, very little, a 2-month-old and a 16-month-old while we were building our house. So we were living in the beautiful basement of my in-laws. They're wonderful people with a beautiful space, but we obviously, you don't have privacy. You have kids, very, very young kids. So I needed an escape route. So yes, I wrote it for myself for fun, to be creative, to just go down an avenue where escape reality for a little bit, right? And then I ended up making money on it because it started my platform. It built the beginning of what I am today and how it moved forward. So yes, you can make money on it doing the things that you love. It's just a matter of how you approach it, right? And how do you access the revenue through? How do you make that money by pulling in these things that are creative and then providing benefits for your target audience? Figure out how that will help you. They're not always quantitative figures. Sometimes they're qualitative figures. You're going to build your credibility. You can't put numbers on that. Okay. You're going to build your platform. You can't put numbers on that entirely. So think about it in terms of what you can provide from the creative side and then how you can help your target audience. Hopefully I answered that okay, you guys. Thank you so much for all the questions. I absolutely love it. We're going to jump forward to asking, we got 4 more questions in, I think. Okay. All this strategy bleeds my creativity. Is this something? I'm not quite sure I understand, Karen, there.
I think I understand that one, if you want me to pop in
yes,
really
please.
quickly, Jackie. So she had been asking about if you're writing to feel creative, does this mean you won't make any money? And I think what Karen is saying is that trying to figure out the strategy around all of it hampers her creativity.
Okay,
And, you
so
know, yeah.
with that said, then that's where people like Alexa and myself are busy, because we're helping you with those components that are really harder to get through. And so when you get the help from other people, other experts in the field, you're able to use your own bandwidth, your own brain power for that creativity side. And then you get the help from other resources to answer the other questions, right? To get through and make sure that that book is a success story. Does that help? If it doesn't, let me know, but I will, I'll keep going. And then Brianne, is this something that usually best done for self-publishing, or does it just depend? Absolutely, it totally depends. There are people, I have people that are, a friend of mine, colleague of mine, I just interviewed last week, is self-published his first book, and he sold 40,000 copies of it so far. You can have great success as a self-published title. You can, but getting the help with other publishers. I know Alexa has done some great work with publishing, and she can help you with marketing strategies. Other publishers like that can help you with marketing strategies. So it does depend on what your goals are and what your idea of success for that book is, and whether you're retaining your rights. Traditional publishers are generally buying your rights, things like that. There are certain things, but you can actually find that information out fairly easily. I do a free strategy session at dreamtoauthor.com, free 30 minutes. If you have any of those questions, I can answer them for you. So you can set that up at dreamtoauthor.com and just click on the strategy session button and get that scheduled. Tennille, I hope it isn't silly to ask, but I want to quote stats from a survey in my introduction. The results of the survey published online in newspapers. Should I provide attribution to the survey conductors? You always want to source public information. Public information is really good, but you definitely need to have that source. Alexa, maybe you want to touch on that a little bit as well. But making sure that you have that permission, you're sourcing whatever. If it's not your work, you want to make sure that you've got it, the credit to the right people. And should I avoid waffle words in fiction such as somewhat, very, rather? Yes, absolutely. We always like to, that's part of one of my 10 self-edit strategies, get rid of some of those filler words. They weaken your statement in many ways. So keep that in mind as you're moving forward with that, okay? All right, I'm going to move forward. Let's see. Hopefully I got everything. Please let me know if I have not answered anything else. Catherine, good to see you. Thank you so much. Okay, we are moving forward. Let's talk about using your book to grow your business and position yourself in the market for success. So this is a statistic that, and speaking of statistics, we're going to talk about credibility, right? This is a statistic that I saw it was a study from the Grammar Publishing School company. 200 entrepreneurs were surveyed, and the study was all about them. 34% of the entrepreneurs reported their earnings had doubled since the publication of their book. Now, this is double. They all said that they had higher revenue, but they doubled. 34% of them doubled their revenue. That's a compelling statistic that I thought, this is how we can prove that books can really truly increase your bottom line. Now, was it because of the book? That's the other question, right? 86% of these entrepreneurs reported that the growth of their business was a direct result of publishing that book. So these are compelling statistics that we're moving through from business owners, people like you right now, talking about their experience with their own book. Now, what did they get out of that? Let's talk about media, increased media exposure. I'm going to minimize that for a second. So increased media exposure really truly plays a role in that increased visibility, right? So we're talking about 63% of those new authors began to have more visibility online. So online magazines and publications. In newspapers, there was a 43% increase. And radio, there was a 33% increase. And TV, there was a 10% increase. Now, I have experienced all of these in using my books as credibility tools and increased media exposure. And like I said, I've done all 4 of these. I've had increased visibility in all 4 of these categories, and it truly increases that exposure and the leads that end up going into your inbox. And that's what you want. You want to get these people out there knowing who you are, the story you have to tell, what you have to provide as a solution for their issue that they're needing, and then they can reach out to you. Okay. Did you need something, Alexa, or?
I'm so sorry. I just forgot to mute myself after the last one. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
No
Good.
problem.
Keep rolling.
All right. So moving forward, talking about media outreach, I want you to think about this as you're constructing your story, getting that out. Media outreach, again, you're going to look at what you can provide to that media source. So find those sources out there that are going to reach your target audience. Find the radio stations that really cater to the listeners that would be good prospect clients for your business, for you. The TV, radio, newspaper, podcasters, influencers, there's so many people out there that you can reach out to as options to grow your business. This is a great source because you're hitting multiple prospects and a huge wide audience that will hone in on your target, that will include your target audience. And use your book as a solution for their audience. Provide that book as a tool. And then find ways to link that your information to relevant topics in the news today. Okay, what can you provide that will help their audience? What can you bring to the table for them? That's where the media, the producers, the radio people, the authors, the editors, the podcasters, they're going to go, okay, is this worthy for my audience? That's what they're going to ask themselves when they consider you. So stay relevant and stay on point when you're providing that information, okay? And see where your focus is, because it's going to be wherever your target audience, where are they, who are they listening to? Who are they watching? Who are they reading? And figure out where they're at. And those are going to be your short list item of media outlets that you want to reach out to and provide that knowledge, okay? Speaking gigs. I just interviewed a president of Midwest Speakers Bureau talking about this as well. 72% of entrepreneurs receive speaking engagements as a result of having a book. 33 of them were paid gigs. So there were a lot that were not paid gigs. However, that's increasing exposure. When people are able to speak in front of an audience, you are speaking to a number of prospects for your business. So telling your message, telling your story about your book, about what you can provide to them, that is an opportunity. And you can also do a book signing event after that. You can get so many benefits by increased visibility and revenue through speaking gigs, okay? So how do we go about acquiring speaking gigs? Let's find events that reach your target audience. Again, you're figuring out who that target audience is, right? Find out where they're at, what organizations are they involved in, what industry leader companies are they involved with, and maybe there are some community events that are out there too. Can you elaborate on how to promote the book? On how do you promote the book? So essentially, these are all ways to promote your book, right? And I would invite Alexa to include, pipe in on this question as well. It's going to depend on what your target audience is, where they're at, where they're buying books. So Jordan, if you can tell me maybe a little bit about what your book is, or what your target audience is, maybe, and we could talk about how to promote your book directly. Maybe that would give a better example. Like I am, for example, Brenda's Wish. My third book, I'm going to hospitals. I'm going to speaking to groups that are a National Ovarian Cancer Coalition. They endorsed my book, so I'm invited to speak at their conference. Those are the things where I'm marketing that book. I'm selling that book and I'm selling it in bulk. And that is a huge way to increase that sales and revenue and get the royalties in a big way in mass quantities. The more you can do that, the better off you are. Does that help? That's simple outreach.
I
Yeah.
think you asked me if I wanted to pipe in on this, so I'll take the opportunity, Jackie. Thank
Yes,
you very
please.
much. Actually, so under what you just said is perfect example. And I think a lot of times people hear these book marketing examples of, oh, I need to run ads, oh, I need to do this, oh, I need to do that. And in reality, what you just said for nonfiction authors who have a topic of interest, it's so critical to think about the groups and organizations that utilize that. I can tell you two examples with Sunshine After the Storm, a survival guide for the grieving mother, which was my first book. I really looked for, again, same types of places as you, palliative care, hospitals, counselors, grief support groups, things like that, care package providers for mothers who have lost children, and work to set up ways to get in those places. We had another author who did a children's book about her daughter being diagnosed with hearing loss. And she's been working with audiologists, with pediatricians, with the groups that with groups that support the deaf and hearing impaired communities. So when you're thinking like what Jackie said is a beautiful example, know who you're serving and know where those people or the people that would be providing books to those people are going to be. Podcasts, webinars, conferences, all of those types of places. And it really depends. I mean, that's why strategy is so important, because sitting down and thinking through these things and how you can best serve your audience is important. So thank you for the opportunity to pipe in on that.
Absolutely. And I appreciate all your input, Alexa. She truly is an expert in this as well to move forward and make sure that your book is successful. These are the things that you want to think about moving forward. So using that book as the credibility tool, finding that target audience, talking to them, figuring out where they're at. Also acquiring speaking gigs, you can provide testimonials or references on how to show proof of successful presentations you've done in the past. Use that information. Use people that have seen you and heard you and read your book and understanding. Use that for the next, to get the next presentation. Another, if you don't have time for get all of this research and getting the speaking gigs, consider a speakers bureau. They can help line up those gigs. I will tell you that president that I talked to, her name is Angie Goebel with Midwest Speakers Bureau. She had told me, she said, if I have one speaker slot for an event and I have two authors or two speakers that are qualified for this speaking slot, I will take the author over the non-author because I can charge higher fees and I can also wrap the book into that. We can do a book signing at the end, and it's more often than not that author will get another $1,000 to $2,000 in revenue for book signing books after that event. Or you can wrap up a bundle sale. Hey, I'll speak for this, but you're going to buy these books for every audience member. These are the things that you can use to add that revenue, that bottom line. You can see the numbers increase and the success coming from the book itself. Okay. So keep these in mind as you're acquiring speaking gigs. Okay. Let's talk about strategic partners. This is another way to grow that bottom line, because then you're exponentially spreading the word, right? So the entrepreneurs that they had, we're talking about getting referral partners. Referral partners are people that are saying, hey, you should go to this company and go check out this person because they've got a great book out. Could this damage my platform? I'm sorry. My last podcast did not go well. I was too nervous. Could this damage my platform or marketing my book? I would say when you are, everybody's going to have mistakes that they make and things that go through it. It's how you handle it moving forward. So what the beautiful thing about a book is you've got it and you can review it and review it again and review it again. A podcast, you're only doing it once, right? Because you're live. But I think as you get into your platform, and you have more podcasts that are running smoother and smoother, you're going to have that increased credibility come through. I don't think it's going to destroy your book at all. I don't think that is a problem. I think you don't be too hard on yourself. That's what I would say about that. I think you should continue to move forward with your podcast and don't get too hard on yourself. Alexa probably could pipe in on that one as well. But It's not going to damage if you focus on the good messages when you're marketing. Focus on the good messages. Get more podcasts out that are going to be more polished, regular. If you have to maybe record them beforehand and edit it, I don't know if that's the way you can do that with podcasts. I'm not a podcaster, so talk to other fellow podcasters and talk through that situation. See what they do to kind of do damage control if they have a podcast that doesn't go well. Okay. So moving forward, referral partners are huge because they're spreading the word about your services, your company, your message, and increasing that visibility exponentially. So referral partners, they had 74% increase. These entrepreneurs from the study that I'm talking about, 42% were distribution partners, new distribution partners that they acquired for their business. Now, distribution partners are different than referral partners in the fact that they're really taking your product and service and they're using it as maybe a value add for their company and using that. Case in point, I have an editor on my team. So Lee she provides editing services on her own accord, but yet absolutely, Sandy, happy to help. So I actually have a program where I include her editing services in my overall program. It's called the Book Creation Project. Now, when I do that, I include her services. It's a part of my product. It's a part of my program. So I'm really a distribution partner for her because I'm taking her service and adding it as a value add to my product. And that is a huge thing. She has gotten thousands upon thousands of dollars because of my product in my company alone. So keep that in mind. If you get those distribution partners, they can be a huge increase in your growth. And then, of course, partnering with bigger brands, there are 26% had more bigger brands in the industry, leader industries, people that are recognizable, that target audience to go, well, if they're working with Pepsi, then they must be working with doing this and providing this right service. Or if they're working with, this company that provides this service, wow, everybody knows that company. When you ride on some of those coattails of those leaders, industry leaders that help increase that visibility for your business, that's going to be a win for you. So take that into consideration when you are getting new strategic partners. Okay. And how do we do that? First off, use your book as a tool. Position yourself as the expert in that then send it out and get it out to potential partners. And another few ways here, get referral partners by offering those incentives and promote your business and your book, and consider the distribution partners. Are there any services out there to get your product, your services out to a wider market? And then advertise those bigger brands as testimonials, maybe, or recognize them that will. And if they provide a quote for your book or an endorsement for your book, that much better. If people are recognizing the names that are supporting your book, that's going to build more credibility for your book. It's going to create more strength for that book to be an effective marketing tool. Okay. So these are the things that I want you to keep in mind. Now, this is why I had to put this in here, because this is entrepreneurs are growing with books, because we are seeing more and more of this. The NPD is a data research company, and this isn't older. This article was published last year, but business and economic book sales in the US has reached a 10-year high. That's because people are publishing their books and people are buying the book. We've seen since COVID, the great resignation, people are getting rid of their office job and starting their own business and moving forward and providing solutions based on their own expertise, their own experience, and they're writing a book about it. And the people that are starting their own businesses, they're buying more books because they want to know all the things that they don't: how to start your business, how to market your business, how to be financially sound, and all of these things that fall into these two genres. These are huge telling statistics that really see and that show books are a big factor in growing your business. Okay. So my takeaways for you guys here. All right. It's not about you, about the reader, right? We validate our message through that. We want to connect with your target audience. Make sure you know that target audience. Media outreach, you want to gain that exposure. You want to speak at events to position yourself as an expert, and you want to use that book to gain partnerships and grow your business. These are all huge takeaways to help you move forward and be successful. Is there a link to the study reference? I'll probably get that to you, Janice, with the PowerPoint information, if that's all right. All right, Jackie Miller. Okay, I think that one's done. Okay. So moving forward, if you found this helpful today, please let me know. If you need the extra help, I have a gift for you. I have a brand new opportunity for you. And this is something that I want you to see. I want you to, if you feel like, okay, I can do this, I can write a book, and you're serious about writing a book to grow your business, I want to share with you a brand new program. I'm taking this, it is just starting off. And so we are taking all the updated market research, the information about experts and how to move forward. And I created this new program, and I want to share with you very quickly a little bit about that. It's called the Grow Your Business Program. And this really is designed based on you as the target audience, because I wanted to make sure that you guys are getting everything you need to move forward and be successful. This is brand new. It's an online program. It's going to be available April 15th, the online portion. But the solution is to write that nonfiction book that will grow your business. So I have 4 modules of must-have, must-know information to get your book not only marketable, but also published and ready to go and successful. It also includes one-on-one coaching with me for a month to talk through that program, okay? Or to talk through your book and make sure you're on the right road to success, okay? So growing your business program, this is what it includes for the modules. You're gonna learn about the book. We're gonna focus on the book, validating that message, polishing your manuscript, finding that publishing path. Then we're gonna talk about the publisher and constructing your book proposal. And of course, we're going to end with which publishing path works for you. And module 3 is all about the launch. We're going to have 12 marketing strategies for the book to provide that business growth that you're looking for. This is to ensure that you are having that bottom line increase in your book, right? Because of your book. Module 4 is about the revenue. Analyzing your business growth, exposure, and leads, and how you're going to move forward with that. These are all the key items that we're going to make sure we cover so that you know when you're writing this book, it's going to bring in the clients that you're looking for, okay? So it also includes, again, coaching with me one-on-one as an award-winning author. I'm going to talk you through this. And many of you probably, I didn't include my bio, but I've had a 17 years in a lobby association, the political arena. I worked in different industries. Most of my network are executives. So I'm used to working with executives and working with people that are providing business stories, business books, writing nonfiction. A lot of these people are doing that. So I focus on helping the nonfiction writer do that. I also work with fiction, with novelists. So if you're writing fiction, I can help with that as well. I have 2 fiction books myself and the narrative nonfiction, but I have really worked a lot with business leaders about getting their book written so it adds their bottom line. So that coaching, and it includes 2 one-hour sessions up to 25 pages of review and feedback for your manuscript. So we're going to get through and make sure that you are on the right track and writing your message and getting it honed in, okay? So the cost of this program and coaching is $1,550. But today, this is for this target audience for today only. I just want to show my appreciation for the Women in Publishing group. You guys are amazing. You're a fantastic group, and I absolutely love talking to you. And I think Alexa's amazing. So I wanted to offer this today for $997. This is my offer for you today to move forward. If you need that help, if you want to move forward and get that book done, this is where I'm going to offer to you. And I have the link right there. I just sent it out to everybody. That's the link for this program. So if you are able, if you're interested in doing that, please make the commitment. Let's get you a book that's going to grow your business, grow your bottom line, and let me help you finish that journey and get through. So we can write author behind your name this year and get that book into the right hands that are going to start signing up for consults for your services. They're going to start asking more healer questions. They're going to start asking more questions about how you got through this, how you're providing everything. So thank you so much, everybody. If you want to join, please join in that. Also, you can, and I have my contact information here. Feel free to email me directly if you have any other questions. Alexa, thank you so much again for having me. Is there anything else that I need to provide, or do you have any questions or anything else for you, Alexa?
This was great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I have the slides, so we will make sure that those get sent out in with the recording. And please give us 24 hours to get all of that stuff set up and ready to go.
So you want to get that link. They want to get that link in that chat box right now, because that deal is for today only. So
okay.
You might not get the slides for 24 hours, but that link, and let me put it in again just in case people missed it.
I dropped it too. So make sure you look at and save that link right now. We'll give just a moment for anyone to click on that, to copy it, to do whatever you need to do, because that's what's called a fast acting offer. One day. When did you say it expires again? At the end of today?
And yeah, I will do it till it's 1 o'clock now, 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. That gives, I'll hurry then to get out the replay, because a lot of people sign up to watch the replay. So I would hate for them to miss this opportunity. So thank you again so much. And we will see you all in our next event.
Thanks, Jackie. Guys. Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye.